use the word deal with because it sounds like a really weird word or a phrase, but when you wake up every day, millions of people around the world know your music, were inspired. You are one of those legends as an artist, as a creator, whose work will be out there, let's say forever. Let's hope. McCartney, Lennon, Harrison, Ringo, not so much as Ringo as much, but as an entity, Bacharach, David, Cole Porter, George and Ira Gershwin, yourself. You're in that league. How do you has that hit you? Or how do you face writing music today, knowing that what you've written 30 years ago was great? Do you have to compare your new stuff to what you've done in the past?
Well, I think it's essential that you continue to change. I could not write today the things that I wrote 25 or 30 years ago. I'm not that guy anymore. And so aside from the obvious considerations of style, because your style is going to change over a period of time, and I moved back here like a decade ago to work in the Broadway theater. And that very act of in this very office working with Michael Bennett and so really some of the great lights of the street, you know, really changed the way I look at music, changed my style forever. It made me more literate. It made me more concerned about the quality of the rhymes that I'm integrating into a lyric, and it created a great deal more versatility in terms of, well, now I feel like I can write any kind of a number. You know, I'm not just, for many, many years, I was stuck in a kind of, I'm the guy who does the romantic song. I do the torch song, you know. My heart is broken, and that's what I write. So I think that if you're going to be a valid artist in any medium, that you're going to have to change as you grow older. And unfortunately, as you grow older, the business changes around you. So the record business that I'm in now bears only a slight resemblance to the record business that I started out in 25 or 30 years ago. All the marketing has changed. When I started out, there was no MTV. Well, if you want to hit single in this day and age, you want your video on MTV. How do you get your video on MTV? Well, you know, they have pretty much like a lockout on MTV for guys my age, you know. So the parameters change, and you have to find other ways of being successful. And that's why I'm directing my energies towards Broadway, towards films, and to what I would like to think is a small but enthusiastic cult of people who really enjoy my performing and really like some new songs that I've written that have a kind of conversational tone. They're not top 40, and because there is no top 40. I mean, that's how far removed I am from what's going on in the record business. The things that I would write now for top 40 to be hit records would be things that I would write for a top 40 that no longer exists. Even though you still have a great song come along. And for instance, a song like You Save the Best for Last. Okay, it's a great song. You still have a beautiful song come along once in a while and punch through some of this hype and flack, you know. Confetti. I mean, it's oral confetti. And you find yourself looking at a great song like Foreigner had a few years ago called I Want to Know What Love Is. And these songs, you know, still come through. And so you can hope that maybe out there someday there's another Up, Up and Away for me, or another By the Time I Get to Phoenix for me, with the right artist, in the right context, in conjunction with a film or something like that, that something like that could happen. But to tell you the truth, I have lowered my horizon of expectations, and I'm concentrating on the things that I can actually do well, and hope that if you want to think in a historical context, that history smiles on what I did, whether it was you know, whether it went platinum or whether it was on MTV or not, that history does look kindly on the work that I did.
3, 2, 1.
I've been listening to a lot more quote-unquote country music lately, and I believe what's made that much bigger, especially with the new country station in New York, relatively new station, is the fact that there's people that are, I'm 36, but people who are in their late 20s or older, who grew up in the 60s or the late 60s, early 70s, who grew up with songs that you wrote or your peers wrote, and we don't want to hear Cocoa Puffs. You know, we don't want to hear Snap, Crackle, and Pop. You want to hear substance. And a lot of the country music is based on that song. It has a lot of it's always got that little pun or something like that, you know, a little slant or a little lyrical twang to it. But the bottom line is, you know, Reba McEntire or whomever is going to cut a song.
Yeah.
He's not going to look for something that's just going to make money right away and never be out there again.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nashville is the kind of the last citadel, you know, of the, you know, real songwriter. And you've got guys around now like Hugh Prestwood, who wrote a song for Trisha Yearwood called The Song Remembers When, which is, it's not only a beautiful idea, I mean, it turned out to be a really beautiful song. And as you say, you know, the mainstay of Nashville songwriting is more often the witticism or the what they used to call, what my family used to call sayings, in quotation marks, sayings, like take this job and shove it, you know. Like, that's really the mainstay of the Nashville songwriter. But they are really dedicated and concerned about writing songs, and in a way, it's a strange place to find that kind of almost monastery of songwriting. Unlikely, not because country music is not valid, but unlikely because New York is supposed to be where the great songs come from. This is like the tradition, this is the mecca of the songwriter here, you know, the Brill Building and all of that. And then to a certain extent, Los Angeles. You're talking about a great body of work that was created in LA in the late 60s and early 70s with Joni Mitchell, well, before her, Brian Wilson, then Joni, Jackson Browne. So in a strange way, New York, aside from Paul Simon and maybe a couple of others that I can think of off the top of my head, has really become less important in the songwriting landscape than this little town down in Tennessee called Nashville. Because people down there really care about the mechanics and will pay attention to the way a song is supposed to be put together.